Hello everyone, and welcome back to Bugs Bunny Lost in Time on the Sony PlayStation 1. I am one wild sheep yet again, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to tackle the Conquest for Planet X, which is quite an interesting stage, I tell you that much. It's a little bit different, what can I say? Anyway, the big thing with this stage is it is basically a race. Much like the Witch Hazel race we had previously, we need to get to the top of this mountainside in order to claim this planet in the name of Earth. And what makes this kind of interesting is the fact that the way this race is handled is more of a maze than it is an actual traditional race. So you have to go through this maze, you have to try and figure out a decent way to go while collecting all of these clocks. Every time you pick up a clock, you will have a bonus extra amount of 3 seconds to be added to the timer, just like with the Witch Hazel race. And basically what I recommend is not even bothering with the race for the first time, because as soon as you actually fail the race, you get a prompt immediately telling you, hey, do you know you can actually redo this from the beginning? So what I recommend is just explore the level first, explore the level, collect as many collectibles as you can, and as soon as you get all the golden carrots, then redo the stage afterwards in order to actually beat the stage itself, you know, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, I honestly recommend basically just exploring this first before deciding to go with the stage and beating it. But I like the stage, you know, and it's such a joy just to find the correct way to go through and try and speed run your way through this level, because there's so many alternate pathways you can take, and all of these doorways will always lead you in a different direction. So, you know, it's pretty damn fun to find out the correct way to go and go off the beaten path and what have you, I tell you that much. But anyway, our time limit has ran out, and the game doesn't automatically eject us out of the mission when our time runs out. It won't, basically the stage won't end until we reach the top of the mountainside, so we are able to just continue exploring it freely without having to worry about that, which I do appreciate, because if this was like Mario 64 or something, you know, we'd probably be kicked out of the stage going, oh, you have to redo the stage from the beginning, which is a tad bit annoying, I tell you that much. But, no, where am I going? Go back, get the golden carrots past me, what are you doing? Ugh. Yeah, I had a bit of a brain fart then, because I thought I was close to the top of the mountain, and it was close to the top of the mountain, but it wasn't quite the top of the mountain, so, yeah. But basically, you just need to go through the stage and look for all the golden carrots along your way, what can I tell you? I don't know, I like this one, what can I say? Although you do need to be careful, because falling rocks are very, 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 very difficult to deal with, because basically they're damn instantaneous until they land onto the floor. You see a shadow for about a second or two, and then suddenly a rock will come crushing down. So dodging the rocks that are falling from the ceiling, well, not so much ceiling, dodging all the falling rocks can be a bit of a pain in the ass, and that's kind of true with all of the levels in this game, because every time there's falling rocks in a stage, they are always a pain in the ass to dodge and a pain in the ass to basically get around in this game. What can I tell you? Basically, I don't like sequences where they drop falling rocks, and it's not only in this stage where they are a pain in the ass. It's like in upcoming levels as well, and obviously you see me get hit quite a bit in the Witch Hazel level as well. But yeah, as soon as we actually finish off collecting all of the golden carrots, we can take the correct route and go all the way back up to the top of the mountainside and restart the stage. Which I'm gonna be speeding up the actual race again for the second run through. And if you guys want to find out which pathway to take, just pay close attention to the race itself. But you know, and basically go up to the top and then redo it. What can I say? What can I tell you? Yeah, I want to try again. Damn straight I want to try again. Gotta speed up! And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the stage, and in case anyone's wondering, the song is actually called We Love Burning Town. It is taken from Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, which is a fantastic game, what can I tell you? What can I tell you, indeed. But once we beat Marvin the Martian, just pick up the clock and we can be on our way. It's a good stage, it's a pretty fun and short one, and I can dig it. I tell you that much. Can you dig it? Well, I certainly hope so, because it's a fun one. And I wanna actually mention the fact of how we entered the stage actually quickly first, because we took that flying saucer get into that stage. It's one thing I really do love about the Dimension X in particular, is that every single stage has its own unique way of entry. I mean, you have two stages that go in, you access through teleporter gates. You have a boss stage that you use the rocket for. I don't know, I just appreciate that. I like the fact that you have alternate methods of entering a level, and I really wish they took more advantage of that during the course of the playthrough, because that would have been I don't know, it would have been pretty damn bodacious to have something like a dinosaur riding you into a level in, say, the medieval times, not medieval times, in the Stone Age period, if they were to do that. I don't know, it's a bit of a wasted opportunity, I find, I'll tell you that much. But anyway, the next stage we are going to is the Carrot Henge Mystery, and this is a pretty damn big level, I'll tell you that much, folks, and it's basically this game's obligatory ice level, what can I say?
Hey, what's up, witch doctress? A ribbon. No? Yes. No. Yes. See? Oh, broomsticks.
Well, it looks like we don't have to worry about Witch Hazel anymore, thank God for that. But yeah, like I said, this is this game's obligatory ice level, and honestly, it's a pretty damn fun one, you know, ladies and gentlemen. But the typical tropes of not being able to control your movement very well, and typical slippery ice nonsense that you usually come to expect in these type of levels, well, they're still around, you know, folks, so you need to be a bit careful of that when you get around to it, but right from the get-go, by here we have a bunch of snowmen, including this one with the top hat. Just basically knock them over using the roll ability and destroy the tiny pieces of the snowman's body in order to get hold of golden carrots. Ignore the snowman for the time being that has a duck sort of nose, because well, it's quite obvious that something's a bit off with that particular snowman, so we'll deal with that when we get to it. Just deal with these first off and just take things out, what can I say, because we need to get the golden carrots and what have you. But yeah, this is one of those interesting stages that's, honestly, for a lot of people, this is one of those stages that a lot of people have trouble getting through for the first, you know, when they're first playing the game, because it's kind of tricksy, what can I say, it's kind of easy to miss stuff because it's such an open level. It's so many different looks and crannies you can go to. For example, if you go up here, there's a golden carrot on top of the roof of this building, which is extremely easy to miss because it's just hidden out of the way. And some people don't like this stage because there's so many instances like that where you can easily find yourself basically struggling, you know, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, once we destroy that one snowman with a weird duck head, then, well, obviously we need to deal with this guy. This is Robin Duck, also known as Daffy Duck in most continuities, and unfortunately we can't really deal with him in the traditional I'm gonna kick you sort of method. Instead, what we need to do is actually play snow fighting. We need to have a snowball fight with good old Daffy here. Which basically means we need to go to these snow piles, press the R1 button to pick up a piece of snow, then chuck it at him. And the only problem with this is, because of how there's no auto aim or anything like that in this boss fight, you know, it's not even a boss fight, in this battle, in this duel, there's no auto aim or anything like that. So, playing through this is a pain in the ass trying to hit Daffy Duck, because you need to get yourself in the exact right position, otherwise your snowball's either going to go over him, it's going to go around him, or just short of him, so you need to be at the exact right distance in order to throw the snowball at him properly. And unfortunately, Daffy does have pretty impeccable aim, you know, he does have a pretty damn good aim, all things considered, which shouldn't really mean much because you can easily walk out of the way of the snowball. These things don't move very fast, but, you know, it's a bit tricksy, what can I say? But this stage is also quite interesting in the fact that, there's 2 power-ups to collect in this one, folks. There's 2 major main superpowers that Bugs Bunny can get hold of to basically keep through the course of the game. Kind of like the super jump ability. And I find it really weird how they chucked both power-ups into the stage at once. It just sort of makes me think they ran out of levels and ran out of ideas on where they could potentially chuck the power-ups. Because, I don't know, we just get to the stage and suddenly they just dump everything onto us at once. And it's kind of... I don't know, I just find it kind of jarring, what can I say? But anyways, move on in here, and there's Merlin yet again. Let's have a chat, shall we?
Hello, Travel Hair. I can teach you a magical trick if you like.
Great!
All right, listen carefully, Rabbit. Say hocus pocus over this symbol to reach a too high ground or object.
So now we have access to the fan power. And, honestly, it's a pretty underutilized power. Not the most underutilized power of the game. The most is the ability to open up doorways. Well, I say that, but we actually have to use that power up quite a lot during this stage. But basically, the fan power is not very useful. You know, there's only literally 1 or 2 instances in the game where we need to really utilize it, with the exception of maybe 1 level where we utilize it all the damn time, because the entire level theme is in fact based off of this power-up. So later down the line, when we actually return to the Stone Age era, the final stage in the Stone Age era actually requires the fan power-up in order to make any progress in, because, well, that's the gimmick of the level. It's all about utilizing the fan power. So if you haven't visited this level before going to the Stone Age for the final stage there, well, you may find yourself a little bit buggered. You might find yourself a little bit stuck. I'll tell you that much. But of course, right now you might be wondering, why did I say this stage is pretty damn open? Because right now it looks like it's a very linear, typical level like we've seen up until this point. Well, the main reason I'm saying this is actually a very open stage is because the moment we go through this cave, we actually go into a very open-ended area with multiple doorways that we are able to go through, and we can basically tackle the stage at any way we want. You know, we can actually go through any of these doorways at any time we want, as soon as we get the open up door power up, which is not far away. We'll be getting that pretty shortly. But before we do go and get that power-up, we do want to deal with these dragons, which, they're very easy. Just jump on them 3 times. The 3rd bounce will always give you a clock. The 2nd time will always give you 2 golden carrots. So basically, there's 3 dragons in the area you want to jump on and bounce on to get 3 clocks and 2, 4, 6 golden carrots. What can I say? One thing that may catch you off guard, however, is these enemies, they don't stay dead when you knock them out. When you jump on them 3 times, they'll be stunned for a few seconds, but they'll get back up and they'll start using their fire breath on you rather quickly, you know, ladies and gentlemen. Which honestly is kind of a good thing, because right now one of the carrots is clipped into that dragon, so that would have been a pretty bad thing. If I couldn't move the dragon, I'd have to restart the whole stage. Yeah, so that's probably why they made it so the dragons actually do get up and they do start running after like half a second of being sat down stunned, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, these are really easy enemies to deal with, and I used to be petrified of fighting these things when I was younger. I used to struggle so much at fighting these things because I used to... More so because I was just freaked out by the fact, oh god, they're dragons. I don't want to fight a dragon. I'm only a rabbit, but nah, these dragons are pushovers, what can I tell you? Nothing compared to the dragons in, like, well, basically anything, because dragons are usually ridiculously overpowered in almost everything they're in, but, you know, they're not the strongest things in the world, what can I say? But we do want to go up on top of this spiral mountain, because on top of the spiral mountain here, there isn't a Jiggy. Bit of a Banjo-Kazooie joke there. But there is a power-up that we're going to be learning from Merlin yet again, as well as learning the main objective of this particular world, because this particular world does have a specific objective to accomplish, which is basically in the form of these very specific collectibles that are only prevalent in this world. By the way, these boulders can go suck an egg. Basically, we got about 5 or 6 specific stars we need to pick up in the stage in order to collect everything. So, you know, if you don't... Basically, you have to explore this one a lot in order to collect everything. What can I tell you? And also, this is Carrot Henge.
Hello, Travel Hare. Find the 5 missing stone signs and the clock you're looking for will appear here in Carrot Henge. I can teach you a magical trick if you like.
Great!
All right, listen carefully, Rabbit. Say, open sesame over this symbol and you will be able to open a magic door.
As I was saying, this is Carrot Henge, and basically, it's an obvious homage to Stonehenge, you know, ladies and gentlemen. But the weird thing is about the power-up that Merlin just gave us, Open Sesame. I find it quite weird because of, basically, Open Sesame is such a stereotypical magic spell to open up locks and whatnot. I'm honestly surprised Bugs Bunny himself didn't work it out by... you know, on his own, just by going up to these doors and like, I got this, I got an idea, open sesame! You know, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, Sonic had the same idea in one of the Sonic games, and he tried to open up a door by shouting that, if I recall correctly. That, or I'm misremembering and I'm thinking of something entirely different, but I don't know. I digress. Anyway, these are the main MacGuffins we need to collect now, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, we need to go to each area of this world in order to pick up these stars for Stone... Henge, you know, ladies and gentlemen. And honestly, because of this sort of reminds me more of a Mario level in terms of design, you know. It reminds me of something you'll find in like Mario 64 or Super Mario Sunshine. Because those games had levels where you mainly had to collect the 6 or so MacGuffins in order to make the main collectible appear, and that's basically the same thing.
Open sesame!
Yes, time to enter this realm. However, one thing that kinda will probably maybe annoy some people is the fact every one of these isolated hidden well, they're not hidden. Each of these isolated doorways with these main star collectibles we need to pick up all have a loading screen every time we enter. So, I'm cutting out quite a few loading screens here, and none of the loading screens in this game are pretty long, but I know some people will be quite annoyed, because the loading screens will probably take you out of the level, you know, folks. It'll take you out of your immersion, if you're, mid-stage, anyway. I don't know, I'd never minded loading screens too much, but, you know, when loading screens happen mid-level, it usually annoys me a tad bit, but I think some people have their own preferences with that, you know, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, when we get to this point in the stage, you'll probably see ice platforms spawn in. And as you can tell by there, the ice platform disappeared when I started running properly, which basically means we need to utilize the snake power in order to get around these ice platforms. Otherwise, we will probably fall to our deaths because we're too heavy and will basically break the bridge, you know, folks. These standard ice platforms work just fine though, and they're typical ice physics nonsense, you know. You move forward and you go forward, and you sort of slide about a little bit, which can be a little bit tricky to deal with, but, you know, it's nothing that's impossible to get used to, you know. The ice physics controls... In fact, I'd say they're better than the controls of the ice physics in Crash Bandicoot, and that's probably the closest thing I could probably give as an example of how they control, so... Yeah, they exist. They're a thing. Kind of annoying that we do have to deal with ice physics. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of ice in video games, you know? Like, I prefer to keep full control of my character, or have it so the ice itself just doesn't affect my traction, because when... I don't know, I just don't like the idea of them adding difficulty by taking away control from me. I just think it's a cheap way to add upon difficulty of games, and I've never liked ice levels, basically. I really don't like ice levels in games. I don't mind snow levels, because snow levels and ice levels are different, because snow levels are basically like, there's snow everywhere, but you still have the traction. Ice levels, you lose the traction, you know, ladies and gentlemen. And if there has to be ice, or if there has to be some sort of slippery mechanic in a game, I would prefer it if it didn't change your controls too much. Like, I think Banjo-Kazooie sort of had ice controls down a bit right, because in Freeze Easy Peak in Banjo-Kazooie, your controls were a bit more slippery. You were a bit more slippery to control, but your control wasn't affected so much that it was actually a chore and it wasn't difficult to control Banjo's basic movement. You know, his basic movement was exactly the same as his normal movement, except slightly less traction. I don't mind that, but when the controls themselves just change and become much harder, that's when it gets on my nerves, you know, ladies and gentlemen. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one with that sort of criticism against ice levels, but I have heard quite a few people don't like ice levels, and it's not quite my hatred of water levels. Well, I say that, my hatred of water levels is a game-by-game basis, because some games do water levels really well, and other games do water levels really badly. Like, I know some people hate the water levels in Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, but they control really well, and you can move around quite speedily in Ty the Tasmanian Tiger underwater, so those are some of the water levels I quite enjoy. Bit of a pain in the ass to play through, because those water levels are freaking huge, but apart from that, you know, in general controls and stuff, they're fun to play. Then you have the Donkey Kong Country games, where I don't like the water levels too much. You get Mario 64, which I love the water level in, you know. I don't know, it's a game-by-game basis, I suppose. Gotcha! But, yeah, we're getting closer and closer to the end of the stage, and as I mentioned already, we do need to go to each of these rooms, and each of these rooms have their own unique challenges. Like this room, for example, we need these snowshoes that Bugs Bunny has already picked up, otherwise we'll be sunk into the ground because the snow is really deep. Which means we basically have to maneuver properly and deal with all the enemies, but you know, it's an interesting little challenge, but not the hardest thing in the world. None of these challenges are really too difficult, you know, folks. Anybody with half a brain could probably work out how to do these properly. And the only one that may give some people a little bit confusion is this upcoming challenge right by here with the ships. Because this is a simple matching minigame, where you need to match two of the same shape together in order to make a platform rise between this platform and the main star we need to collect. For example, I need two squares in order to make basically a square platform rise up, you know, folks? But what may throw some people off is the fact there are 3 shapes of each type in this little thing we need to jump on. So basically, if we run into the third shape, if we run into a third square, as I demonstrated there, basically what will happen is the platform itself will sink right on back into the water. So basically, we need to make sure we sink, you know, we need to make sure we match up the 2 of the shapes, but not 3 of the same shape, otherwise it'll cancel itself out, basically, you know, ladies and gentlemen. And that can be a little bit tricky for some people, because some people will probably play the game and not realize that it sinks the platforms back down. So some players will probably end up getting 2 reds, then they see a 3rd red and like, oh, okay, I can press the 3rd red. Wait, why is the platform split back around? I don't understand this. You know, I don't know. I know it freaked me out as a kid when I played this game. I used to have no idea what I was doing, but honestly, that was pretty. That's pretty much a case with most games when I was younger. I was not the smartest tool in the shed. You know, I used to quite struggle in my gaming when I was younger. Hell, I still struggle in my gaming now, but I like to think I'm a little bit more competent these days. I like to think I can beat these games without too much of a trouble. I like to think anyway. Who knows if I can? It's a case-by-case basis, I suppose. But, anyway, we just need to make our way back up to the very top of this mountain yet again, and we are pretty much done with the stage now, ladies and gentlemen, so, yeah. It's a neat little difference, it's a different level, I kind of dig the idea of it, and, what can I say? That is it for this part, so thank you all for watching, hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish, people. And when we return next time, we will actually be returning to the Stone Age era for the final Stone Age level, which shall be quite interesting. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish. I'll catch you all then. Bye!